Here's another episode of Production House 45 Presents Indie Film Spotlight, and I'm with the talented and amazing Casterline Villar. Casterline, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm nervous a little bit.
I'm nervous. You're kidding me? You took like 6 tries just to get that intro.
Yeah, we did.
We'll have that in a separate segment. You guys will get a good laugh out of that. But yeah, so today's topic, kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is acting in the indie circuit, and just getting either from theater acting, where a lot of people start, to film acting, or just going cold turkey right into film acting. Casterline's a very talented actress that we've worked with multiple times on a lot of our projects. It's always a pleasure working with her. So, I thought it would be a great idea to bring her in and interview her and talk about her experiences. So Casterline, what's up? Like, where?
What's up?
So what kind of got you started into acting? Like, what was your main passion? Like, what got you into acting?
I think that I'm one of those people that has like a really cute story from when I was like 11, and I was like, I want to be an actor. And like since then, I've truly pursued acting. I do come from a Dominican family, and so with coming from my Dominican background, it's a bit unconventional to be an artist. Mm-hmm. So I did have a lot of obstacles along the way. It wasn't a direct uphill climb like it is for some people who are fortunate enough to be in acting classes and dance classes from the age of like 3, so I stumbled upon the art of acting on my own, and I didn't particularly have a lot of support in my teenage years. I actually had some AP English teachers in high school, because I was an honor student who loved my writing, loved my reading skills, and got interested in the fact that I wanted to pursue acting, or that I was just interested in theater. Mm-hmm. In New York City, the first programs to go from any curriculum in schools is art. Mm-hmm. So we didn't have any performance classes in my public high school. My AP teachers went out of their way to find acting programs around the city for me that I would qualify for with a scholarship. And actually, my mom, not approving of this, was supposed to help me with her like tax information so that they had proof that I was eligible for said scholarships. And very, very bad girl that I was. I was the good one out of all my siblings, I will say, from jump. But I've always been an eager beaver, and I've always been an overachiever. Always been someone who, if I set my mind to something, I want to do the best, and I want to get it done to the fullest. But like I said, my mom wouldn't particularly let me even take these acting classes. As a first-generation immigrant to come here, she felt that wasn't the path to success, and so I stole her tax information. And
how old were you?
I was like 15 or 16.
I don't think I knew what tax information was until like last year. And I'm 25.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I was just like, here's the paperwork, whatever, and like forged my mom's signature. And I auditioned for a program at the Stella Adler Studio of Acting in Midtown Manhattan. Wow. And I got a scholarship into their summer program. So this is all happening while my mom thinks that I'm going to these college now classes because I was an honor student, which I did actually do like the year before. And I just was like, yeah, they're doing a summer version. Can you sign these papers, and like, just had her kind of like agree to let me do it. But like for the tax stuff, I forged all of her stuff.
And God, is that like legal? Can we say that?
Is it legal?
I don't know.
That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, whatever. I'm moving on.
Anyway, they're like gonna come after me in my home.
It's like, I remember someone from that camp's gonna be like, I remember Casterline. I'm gonna come for her.
They're like
I was supposed to be the lead.
Yes, exactly. No, but yeah, I felt so fortunate that my introduction to acting was actually in a Shakespeare class. Oh, wow. Or at least that was my first professional class that I was taking. And it was in Shakespeare, and then I moved on to audition for their 2-year program, and I got into that too.
Oh, cool.
So I was very, very lucky, but the entire time my mom didn't know. And that's always a doozy of a story to tell because of how chaotic it seems. But I felt like I had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like I had such a passion for this art form. It was like, by any means necessary, I'm gonna make it happen for myself. I'll figure out all the relationship with my family stuff later.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a lot when it comes to artists and stuff, because a lot of, I mean, me personally, and I feel like I don't know one art. I mean, I guess there's a few people whose parents really support them, but it's definitely something that when you tell your parents that you're getting into, they're like, you don't want to be a doctor? It's like, no. Or like, you don't want to do, it's like, because I remember for the longest time I wanted to be like an art teacher, and and I was very heavily in the arts, like from a young age as well. I did a lot of art, like I was always in the art classroom doing paintings and stuff. I actually didn't find my passion for film until last senior year of high school. So it's just something that you're like, all right, and it's it's sad that not a lot of people are very supportive about it, and it's always nice to find. I feel like going to school and going into these creative environments, you actually find people who are like-minded, or they have the same goals. And then you kind of create your own support system.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I understand why parents are so hesitant.
I get it. Oh no,
and
I get it.
After experiencing the industry,
It's a struggle.
Yeah,
it's a struggle, no matter what art you
it's
do.
not kind to anyone.
And you gotta sacrifice a lot, and a lot of it you gotta do on your own, and you have to just give so much and expect so little, and to make it big, or even just not even make it big, just make it in general, you're spending a lot of your life dedicating to that, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the hustle is hard.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I feel like if art wasn't the hustle, I don't think we'd be getting such great performances, actors, directors, writers, all this meaningful stuff. Because that's kind of like the source of all of the creativity in a way. It's a little sad, but it's also like
it's the hunger that really fuels the work in the end and makes the work valuable. It's the fact that this wasn't just a 1, 2, 3 and it's done. It's that it was a struggle. It was a collaborative effort. There's always at least one other person, unless you're Bo Burnham, but like but like there's usually people on your team helping you along the way. And even if there isn't someone in the room with you, there are the experiences that you have in your life that do include other people or other lifestyles or just experiences in general that led you to the point to be able to create that work.
Yeah, and I think just working with you and other artists and stuff, it just goes to show you like the arts is such a collaborative work environment that I feel like the big thing I feel like that hinders people from becoming big, or like actually making really good stuff that people enjoy, is the fact they're scared to collaborate. We were told, the guys and I were talking about this last night, about how we got to start collaborating more, and just in general, like the arts are meant for collaboration. I feel like a lot of people try to like I'm gonna be the best painter ever, or like I'm gonna be the best violin player or the best actor, director, photographer, whatever. They don't realize you got to start somewhere, and also collaboration is like the foundation for everything. And honestly, great pieces come out of collaborating. I mean, we've had a great time working with you, and it's just like so awesome seeing you, Des, and our the crew just like make something. And like we wrote all this stuff out, like, and we had it like film wise good, but then we bring in you, and then you bring life into the characters that we create. And it's just crazy because like on paper you write someone, it's like it's on paper, but you breathe, like actors and actresses, they breathe life into these creations, and it's just such a beautiful experience.
Yes, there's value to being in the room with other creatives because we learn from each other and we fuel each other, and life in general fuels us. And thank you for that, for like honoring the way like actors work, and that y'all appreciate the work that we do, because we so appreciate. Or maybe I can't speak for every actor, but hey, you've got to love your production team. You've got to love your crew. You've got to, because they're working so hard to make you look good and to bring a story to life. And that's so special.
Yeah, especially in the indie field, like, run and gun. I mean, we're doing small crew stuff, and it's just like we don't have the massive crew to work with, and it's just like everyone needs to pitch in and do a little more than they were, they're really meant to do.
Yeah, but juggling the balls brings out more talents, right?
True. No, that's
so
the thing.
yeah, you didn't know that maybe because you worked in sound that, hey, if you try learning a bit about lights, you found a new knack. Now you have, new things to that. I know that as an actor, everyone's always like, no, you don't do anything. You stay right there. You do not break the expensive equipment. You stay right there. Don't grab the bag. We don't want you to get hurt. But I'm always ready to, because you also never know what that will lead you to. Yeah. And that's actually a big experience that I've had in the industry. Is just stay open to everything. You have no idea what's going to come your way. And sometimes just kindness goes such a long way. Maybe I shouldn't pick up the bag, but the fact that I asked and people say, she saw that we were struggling and she was considerate. That kindness never goes unseen, never goes it never goes forgotten, and that stays with people.
Oh, for sure. Now, with your background in theater, you kind of filled us in, like where you started. How do you end up doing like acting for film, like on camera and stuff? Like, what was that like? What was that transition like?
Yeah, so that was a crazy transition, especially because, it's funny because people start in theater, and theater is so big. It's so alive and vibrant, and you take all of that energy and you make it so much more compact. And I feel that I worked so hard to find who I was as just an individual with my loud, booming voice and, my presence and whatever. And then to dial it back so much made me feel like, wait, am I like being true in this vessel of performance to like what energy I want to bring to the table? I'm like, I wondered for a while, like maybe stage is where I belong, right? Because you get to have that experience. But that's when I took a step back and I started to observe myself in day-to-day life. What are the moments that I have when I am not around people and I don't have to be that big or don't feel the need or energy to be that big, vibrant personality. Because, hey, I'm crazy all by myself. I can do crazy all by myself when I'm alone in my room and in my apartment running around. But once you are like truly alone and your energy dies down, those interesting nuanced moments you have with yourself, I started to realize like, that's what film is doing. Film is catching those moments, those real human moments where it's not about being animated. It's not about putting your energy at the forefront. It's about being honest, and honesty doesn't always mean vibrancy. It doesn't always mean high energy. Sometimes it just means being. And that's the beauty of film. So in college, I started to take some more film for acting classes, and it really, really did catch me off guard. And that's when I started to hustle at it because it was a challenge. And I knew, just with knowing myself and knowing what I enjoy and my passions, that if I really, really focused in on trying to understand these little moments in life, maybe I'm connecting a little deeper to like the human existence, to the human experience, a little bit more to myself and understanding myself even that much deeper. And that's been a wildly special experience, just like in my own body, in my own brain. It's almost like I have a better insight to myself now, a better insight to understanding others that theater gave me, but in a different perspective. So now that perspective has just broadened. And I'm grateful.
Yeah, and it's crazy because they're totally two different beasts. Like you touched on, like theater, you're on a stage, it's big, there's a bunch of people. You got to make sure the people in the back see what you're doing. So it's very like expressive. And then when you come to film, it's very intimate. Camera's right in your face, and you do a lot less like actual like acting like expression wise. It's more of, well, I guess you're expressing, but not in a loud way, like I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but feel free to correct me.
No, you're so right. And like I said, this is a challenge. And I think that there are people that have a knack for different parts of the field based on who you are and based on how you like to tell stories. And this has always been a challenge just because of my fight to understand myself. So my fight has been, let me break out of this mold that I've been put in. And theater allowed me to explode out of that mold. But now it's coming back.
You're like recreating it almost.
Yeah, I'm recreating it because you realize that it's not just one thing. Like, I'm not just that person that broke out of the mold. I am still an intimate person. I am still someone who has moments to herself and has moments that can be smaller but still powerful. And I love relaying that in film and TV.
So with the biggest difference between the two, what is some advice that you would give to people who are either in the theater looking to get into film, or people may just start out? I mean, biggest, I guess, theater going to film, like what would be a biggest advice? Because it is, like you said, it's a big jump between the two.
Absolutely. I would say don't overthink it and be yourself, because the way that energy exists within individual to individual is different. You know, my film acting is not like the next person's, and my stage acting is not like the next, and it never will be. But that's what makes it special, because you're bringing a very specific thing to the camera, a very specific thing to the stage. And so when you are also patient with yourself, patient enough to be able to say, I am going to just allow myself to be, you know, and to allow myself to be present and just receive whatever energy is given to me, then from there, I will allow myself to grow and flourish and thrive. So yeah, being patient for sure as well. Yes, and honest and just being yourself, being your full, honest and present self.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, I mean, just coming from, like, you know, the other side of the camera, you know, I feel like a lot of people forget directors and stuff. Not directors, but, you know, I just feel like on the other side of the camera, it's just a whole different world. And it's just like the way that actors and the crew work together. It's just such a beautiful thing.
Did you work in a theater before?
I did, actually. I did. I was always in the middle school theater. I did the Music Man junior, and then I went to junior high, did all that stuff.
And let me ask you, how do you perceive the nuances between theater and film?
Oh, wow. I mean, for me, it's easier, I feel, because you can mess up a lot. Like on stage, you got one shot. And if you mess up, I remember learning, like, if you mess up, the audience doesn't know you messed up. So just keep going. That was like a big thing they told us when we were young. Because I was on stage, you know, I was like always messing stuff up. I mean, but
As we do.
I know, but it was like with video, it gave me like a whole new light on acting, like a whole nother type of acting. You know, it's like you can mess up, there's different takes, you can do stuff differently. You know, with acting, you can take the best takes or really experiment with stuff. And I feel like you can do that in, like, on stage acting, but it's like each show is going to be different. And in that, in own respect, that's its own thing. Like, you go to the shows multiple times because you know each one's going to be a little bit different. You know, you got to spice it up. When it comes to film, it's almost like I feel like theater has a beat on that, because you can go to the same show and still experience different things. You watch the same movie, you might be able to experience things, but, you know, you don't get that same feeling you get from the first time watching it. So that's like one thing I feel like theater has up on film. And I always feel like there's always like this kind of battle between what's better, but they're their own form. And I feel like we just need to appreciate
110.
They are, and I feel like that's a big thing that people are like, oh, well, film acting is better than stage acting, but it's just like they're different beasts. People are really good at one, might not be good at the other. Some people are great at both. It just is what it is. But that being said, what was like your first gig? What was it like going on your first film from theater thing? Like,
gosh, my first film from theater thing, I think, was actually a pilot that I shot. Don't ask me what happened to it. At all. Like, I have no clue, honestly. Like, no clue at all. I don't even know what the final product was. I never even saw it.
Okay, that happens all the time.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of that.
Oh, there's a lot of that. But I will say I got connections from that, because the director on that wrote her own short film, and later on didn't even audition me. She just offered me the part, which was so special, because I felt like, compared to the other actors that were there, that I was wildly just inexperienced. It wasn't that I was unprepared, I was just inexperienced, which is like that weird cycle of, like, if you don't get the job, you don't have experience, but if you don't have experience, you don't get the job.
I hate that.
You know, oh my God, I loathe that so much, because if you don't give opportunities to people, how will you ever know? And that's the whole gig, right? It's like you're taking chances, you're taking leaps of faith constantly. Everything's a leap of faith. Even with big time production companies, wherever they're putting their money is still a leap of faith. They luckily have the money to make a better, maybe wiser, riskier decision. But
They have the cushion.
yeah, because they've got the cushion. But like everything is a risk, and I guess that's why, going back to what you had asked me, like being patient and honest with yourself is important, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. Sometimes I watch things that people will be like, oh man, I didn't like this at all, and I'm like, in my perspective, I can't help but think about like, what is happening here? Like, what is happening on the production side of things? What is happening internally for these actors, for these dancers, whomever I'm watching? Because that plays such a big role into the final product, even on stage and in film, especially when it happens on film, because in film you can edit, right? You can do more takes. And I often feel like, well, if something is being received as a product that maybe needs some work, well, why is it? Was this a choice? Was it the direction? Was it the script? Was it the actor that day? Like, you really never know, and a lot of the times you never will know. So just keeping in mind that these things, it really just comes to you in the moment. You're either ready to offer something, or you need a bit more rehearsal.
Now, for someone who maybe didn't have like the luck of finding someone, connecting, and then kind of just getting on the next job, what would you recommend to someone who's looking to get into getting like actual gigs?
Stay hungry. Stay hungry. Because I constantly say that I understand why people don't stay in this field.
It's a big thing. I mean, there's definitely been times I've contemplated what.
Oh my God, I was like last week, like, what am I doing? And then I'm like, actually, no, wait, this is like where I am in life and what I'm supposed to do. And you know what? I could be acting in another 20 years and still be asking myself those same questions. Like, what am I doing? But you know what? If you're asking yourself those questions, it's because you're passionate, it's because you're eager, and it's because you're hungry. Because you're hungry to make a better product. You're hungry to bring another story to life, a hunger to grow and to learn and become a better version of yourself, a better actor, to be able to offer yourself in more vulnerable ways, in more present ways. And as long as that hunger never stops, the work never stops. So when you are hungry and you don't give up, when you are consistently, getting your ass out of bed and like, going to the auditions and flopping the auditions. Yes, flop that shit. Because you know what? Chances are you're going to learn from it. You're going to learn from it, but you can't beat yourself up. You got to be hungry, but you cannot let it like wallow on you. You got to say, this is what happened. This is the fact. Maybe it was a flop. Maybe it was successful. What worked? What didn't? How can I learn from this? How can I grow with this? Okay, let's apply that to next time. And let's move forward, because that's all you can do. The moment you sit and you wallow in one moment, I was just talking about this with Dusty, like the moment you sit and you wallow in one moment, you're stuck, and then you're stuck on that moment and you're never going to unsee it. You're never going to unfeel it. And that can stunt your growth as a performer, as an artist in general. You have to be able to say, okay, this is what I produced at this very specific time in my life, at this very specific moment with this specific group of collaborators, and that's okay. And now we're going to go forward.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you said it. Like, it's just such an interesting field we're in, and it's just like we've mentioned, collaborative. I feel like there's so much good. There's a lot of pain, but the pain and suffering is a part of it, and like I feel like we kind of low-key sign up for it, like we're we're hungry artists, and that's just how things are. But
I will say this as well, that I don't, in my training as an actor, with going to college, getting a BFA, and going to conservatories and being in workshops and this and that and whatever, a lot of people don't prepare you for the industry. It's like you are taught how to be talented or like how to use your skill for your own benefit, for your own growth, and how to expand on your talent. How to pinpoint it and apply it. No,
they miss out on the nitty gritty. You got to learn on your own.
Oh yeah, and the nitty gritty helps you stay hungry. I think, at least. Sure. Once you know the business,
you know how much to give of yourself.
Exactly.
The big thing, the first thing that really burns out people is they give so much. Yes. And they don't realize, what's worth it, what's not. This job's not worth it. Move on.
Right. Or they wallow, and they get so in a hole about, well, this one thing or these two things or these 5 things weren't up to par with my standards or my needs. So maybe it's time I move away from it. But no, like you can't let yourself fall into that. The moment you do, it's like you're set back. But with the industry, like it's that hunger pushes you to understand the logistics, the strategy, the politics of the world in which we live in. And those politics and understanding those politics helps you understand like your place in it as like a pawn on this chessboard and understand how to play the game. Because it really is a lot of that, it's, making sure you're at the right place at the right time, connecting with the right people, and maybe just being a little nice to this one person, which is just, kindness is free. I say give that shit out, Yeah.
Well, Casterline, this was awesome. I had such a pleasure talking with you. I just love the energy you give off. We were just talking about, I love working with you. And it was such a pleasure having you on here and getting a little insight of the acting side of, the film. Because I feel like, a lot of people know about the behind the camera, but not a lot of people know about the acting aspect and what part of that plays, what part that plays in the whole grand scheme of things. Right. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you? Like, is there a handle you want to?
Yeah, for sure. My handle on Instagram is Casterline Villar. So Casterline Villar, just as it's spelled. I'm also on Twitter as Casterline with 4 E's at the end, as opposed to my typical one.
Yeah,
you do weird things in high school.
Yeah, and also it's like there's another Casterline who has the same thing.
Right. No, honestly, I've Googled myself a few times just to be like, let me see if another one's out there, Let me just make sure. And then if there is, I'll find her, And like, but so far, so good. And I'm on Facebook as well.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll have all that stuff linked below so you guys don't have to, play through the video and figure out how many E's you got to put at the end. We'll have that all below. And thank you so much again for coming on.
Yes, I can't believe that was 45 minutes. So, yeah, more or less, something like that. Maybe a little less.
Yeah, I'm getting from my assistant over there was 40. So, I mean, that's still pretty good. That's in the ball. 37. Ooh, that's honestly,
37 minutes.
That's perfect. I felt like we were here for a while, but... Well, thank you guys so much. Another episode of Production House 45 Presents Indie Film Spotlight. I'm your host, Brendan. And again, this is Casterline. We'll catch you next time. Peace out, guys.
Peace.